the Academy Award for the Best Performance of an Actress in Supporting Roles during 1939 to Hattie McDaniel.
It's hard to fathom the hardships Hattie McDaniel has endured throughout her life. After 4 failed marriages, it appears that Hattie has lost all hope of finding joy in others. Her journey has been marred by a string of misfortunes, both in her personal life and her career, leaving her eyes perpetually filled with sorrow. As a fan of Hattie McDaniel, for sure you will never want to miss this Truly Reveals Her Dark Side video. Stay calm to listen to her story. Hattie McDaniel's entry into the realm of romance came with her marriage to Howard Hickman in 1911, when she was just 18 years old. McDaniel's first husband was a source of early joy in her life, but their marriage was destined for heartbreak. Tragically, Hickman passed away only 4 years after their wedding. For McDaniel, this loss was not just emotional but also a severe blow to her financial stability and future prospects. At such a young age, losing a spouse would have been an overwhelming burden, and McDaniel faced this hardship with resilience. Her struggles intensified following the death of her husband. In 1916, McDaniel experienced another devastating personal loss with the passing of her brother Otis. Otis's death had significant ramifications, not just emotionally, but also financially. Otis had been a vital support in her life and career, and his death left McDaniel and her family in a precarious financial position. The loss of her brother effectively drained the resources of her troupe, leaving her and her colleagues without the means to sustain their performances. With her financial situation deteriorating, McDaniel was forced to adapt to the harsh realities of her new circumstances. She found herself scrimping for even the most modest acting roles. The transition from a secure position to one of economic struggle marked a significant shift in her career and personal life. McDaniel's early achievements and aspirations seemed increasingly out of reach as she grappled with the aftermath of her recent losses. In a bid to sustain herself, McDaniel sought opportunities beyond traditional stage acting. She ventured into the emerging medium of radio, performing several sessions for Paramount Records. This foray into radio was a crucial, albeit temporary, reprieve from her financial woes. Radio offered McDaniel a platform to continue showcasing her talent and earning a modest income, which was particularly important given her dire financial situation. Hattie McDaniel, whose life seemed a testament to both remarkable talent and relentless adversity, embarked on her second marriage in 1922 with a hopeful heart. Her new husband, George Langford, was a source of renewed optimism and promised a fresh start for McDaniel, who had endured considerable personal losses in the preceding years. At this juncture, McDaniel's career was beginning to show signs of growth, suggesting that perhaps, at long last, her fortunes were shifting in a positive direction. McDaniel's marriage to Langford represented a hopeful turning point. After the profound heartache of losing her first husband, Howard Hickman, and enduring financial ruin following her brother Otis's death, McDaniel was eager to find stability and happiness. Langford's arrival in her life was seen as an opportunity for emotional and financial renewal, a chance for McDaniel to rebuild both her personal and professional life. However, the optimism that McDaniel invested in this second marriage was cruelly upended. The relationship, which had initially promised so much, was marred by an unimaginably tragic event. George Langford's life was cut short by a gunshot wound, leading to his death after only 3 years of marriage. The circumstances surrounding his death were both sudden and shocking, adding a layer of distress to McDaniel's already tumultuous life. The abrupt end of Langford's life left McDaniel not only heartbroken, but also grappling with the emotional and practical implications of yet another profound personal loss. The timing of Langford's death was particularly devastating. McDaniel had just started to gain momentum in her career, and her burgeoning success seemed to be a beacon of hope amidst the turmoil of her previous years. The cruel irony of Langford's death was that it occurred precisely when McDaniel's professional life appeared to be stabilizing and expanding. The intersection of personal tragedy with professional progress only served to compound the depth of her grief. However, in 1929, Hattie McDaniel's world was upended by a catastrophic event that would reshape her life and career in ways she could scarcely have anticipated. The stock market crash of that year, which heralded the onset of the Great Depression, wreaked havoc across various sectors, and the entertainment industry was no exception. For McDaniel, this economic catastrophe was not just a minor setback, but a full-blown disaster that threatened to derail her burgeoning career. At the time of the crash, McDaniel was part of the ensemble cast of Florenz Ziegfeld's prestigious production of Showboat. This musical, celebrated for its elaborate production and star-studded cast, was a significant opportunity for McDaniel, who had been working diligently to establish herself in the competitive world of theater. The show was on tour, and McDaniel had found herself in Milwaukee, where her life was about to take a drastic turn. As news of the stock market crash rippled through the country, it reached Ziegfeld and his production team with devastating immediacy. The crash had such a profound impact on the finances of the show that it rendered it unable to sustain its cast and crew. Ziegfeld, known for his exacting standards and high expectations, was unrelenting in his response to the crisis. With a financial collapse that left the production without the means to pay its entertainers, the decision was made to cut costs drastically. McDaniel, along with many of her fellow performers, was abruptly dismissed from the program. The very day of the crash, the security and promise that McDaniel's role in Showboat represented evaporated in an instant. The situation deteriorated further when it became apparent that the show's financial woes extended beyond simply paying the performers. There was no money left to send the stranded cast members back to their homes. McDaniel, who had journeyed to Milwaukee in pursuit of her dreams, now found herself marooned in the city with no resources and no immediate way to return home. Her plight was a stark reminder of the fragility of the entertainment industry and the precariousness of life as a performer during such unstable economic times. Desperation often breeds resilience, and McDaniel's situation was no exception. With her options severely limited and no financial cushion to rely on, McDaniel made a heart-wrenching decision. She set aside her considerable pride and immense talent to take up work as a bathroom attendant at Club Madrid, a nightclub in Milwaukee. This job, though far removed from the glamour of stage performances, was one of the few opportunities available to her at the time. Taking on such a position was a significant blow to McDaniel's self-esteem and professional aspirations. It represented a considerable demotion from the heights of working with a renowned producer and performing in a major production. Yet McDaniel's choice to accept this work was driven by an urgent need to secure some form of income and stability, even if it was not in line with her career ambitions. Hattie McDaniel's tenure at Club Madrid was more than a temporary position. It was a crucial period of reinvention and opportunity in her tumultuous career. Despite her initial role as a bathroom attendant, McDaniel's indomitable spirit and relentless drive kept her eyes on the prize. She knew that her true talent lay beyond the confines of the bathroom stalls, and she was determined to seize any opportunity that came her way. The pivotal moment arrived one fateful night when the club's regular singers had left early, and the management found themselves in need of an act to entertain the remaining patrons before closing. Recognizing a chance to shine, McDaniel seized the moment with a fervor that was characteristic of her approach to life. With a well-rehearsed performance of St. Louis Blues, McDaniel poured all her heart and soul into the act. The result was electrifying. Both the crowd and her fellow employees were spellbound by her rendition. Her performance was so compelling that the club's boss, impressed by her undeniable talent, offered her a position on the spot. This moment was a testament to McDaniel's ability to turn even the most unexpected circumstances into an opportunity for success. However, even as McDaniel's star seemed to rise in Milwaukee, the broader economic landscape was shifting dramatically. The Great Depression, a global financial crisis, was beginning to take its toll on many industries, including entertainment. Just 2 years after McDaniel's triumph at Club Madrid, the financial strain caused by the Depression forced the club to shut its doors permanently. For McDaniel, this was yet another setback, but her previous experiences had instilled in her a remarkable resilience. Using the savings she had managed to accumulate, McDaniel decided to make a bold move. She boarded a bus to Hollywood, convinced that the burgeoning film industry in Los Angeles held the key to her future success. The decision to relocate was fraught with risk, but McDaniel's unwavering belief in her talents propelled her forward. She arrived in Hollywood with high hopes and a determination to make a name for herself in the film world. The initial phase of McDaniel's Hollywood journey was challenging. She quickly found work in the film and radio industries, often cast in roles that reflected the stereotypes of the time. Her most notable role during this period was as Hi-Hat Hattie on the radio, a character that showcased her comedic talent and charismatic presence. Despite these opportunities, McDaniel faced a harsh reality. The salaries she earned from these roles were pitifully low, barely enough to sustain a decent living. The financial strain forced her to take up additional work as a real maid behind the scenes, a job she had to juggle alongside her performing career. What McDaniel did not realize at the time was that this seemingly mundane work was, in fact, an important stepping stone to her eventual stardom. The experience of working as a maid allowed her to connect with people from various walks of life, providing her with invaluable insights and a deeper understanding of the roles she portrayed on screen. Her genuine empathy and relatability gleaned from these experiences would later become integral to her performances and the characters she would bring to life in her films. Hattie McDaniel's career in the years that followed was her unwavering dedication. During these decades, she was deeply immersed in her work, focusing almost exclusively on her professional pursuits. Her commitment paid off spectacularly when she achieved one of the highest honors in the film industry. In 1939, McDaniel won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for her role as Mammy in Gone with the Wind. This landmark victory not only marked a pinnacle in her career, but also symbolized a significant cultural moment, as McDaniel became the first African American to win an Oscar. With this prestigious accolade in hand, McDaniel entered the 1940s with a sense of accomplishment and a newfound confidence. Despite her professional success, her personal life had often been marked by turmoil and heartache. After years of concentrating on her career and facing numerous personal and financial challenges, McDaniel turned her attention back to romance. In March 1941, she married James Lloyd Crawford, a real estate agent who offered her the prospect of a stable and loving family life. McDaniel's marriage to Crawford was a hopeful chapter in her life. She had spent decades building her career, overcoming significant barriers, and achieving remarkable success. The prospect of a stable, loving home life was an appealing new horizon for McDaniel, who had weathered many personal storms. For a time, it seemed as though McDaniel's dreams of a fulfilling personal life might finally come true. However, the happiness McDaniel sought proved elusive. As she settled into her marriage, the challenges of her past seemed to linger. Despite her professional triumphs, McDaniel faced new trials in her personal life. The demands of her career, coupled with her high-profile status, often made it difficult to maintain a sense of normalcy in her private life. Yet, amid these ongoing struggles, McDaniel's determination remained steadfast. In 1945, McDaniel made a startling revelation that would capture public attention. During an interaction with gossip columnist Hedda Hopper, McDaniel divulged an extraordinary secret, At the age of 51, McDaniel and her husband, James Crawford, were expecting a child. This news was nothing short of sensational, given McDaniel's age and the public's fascination with her personal life. The announcement was a profound and unexpected twist in McDaniel's already remarkable life story. Indeed, after dedicating much of her career to achieving success in the competitive world of entertainment, McDaniel eagerly embraced her new role as a mother with a fervor that was both hopeful and heartfelt. She poured her energy into preparing for the arrival of her baby, buying piles of baby clothes, and transforming a room in her house into a nursery. Each step was a manifestation of her dreams for a nurturing and loving home, and her excitement about the impending arrival was palpable. The anticipation of becoming a mother was, for McDaniel, a profound emotional experience. She and her husband, James Lloyd Crawford, awaited news of their baby with bated breath. The joy and expectations of this new chapter in their lives filled their days with hope and excitement. However, as the weeks passed without further signs of progress, McDaniel began to feel an unsettling sense of dread. A small, dark feeling started to take root in the pit of her stomach, signaling that something might be amiss. As the days turned into weeks and no definitive news about the baby materialized, McDaniel's anxiety grew. The initial signs of pregnancy were now overshadowed by a growing realization that something was seriously wrong. The stark reality struck with devastating clarity when McDaniel learned that she had experienced a rare and distressing condition known as a false pregnancy. This condition, also referred to as a phantom pregnancy, involves the appearance of all the physical signs of pregnancy, such as a growing abdomen, nausea, and hormonal changes, without the presence of an actual fetus. The emotional and psychological impact of such a revelation was profound, leaving McDaniel shattered and disoriented. The devastation of realizing that her long-cherished dream of motherhood was not to be was overwhelming. For McDaniel, the false pregnancy was not merely a physical ailment, but an emotional catastrophe that shattered her vision of the future. The nursery she had lovingly decorated and the baby clothes she had eagerly purchased now stood as poignant reminders of her unfulfilled hopes. The weight of this personal tragedy was immense, altering the course of her life in ways she had not anticipated. In the wake of this heartbreak, McDaniel's mental and emotional state deteriorated significantly. The depression that ensued was profound, impacting her ability to cope with her personal life and her marriage. The joy she had once felt about the prospect of becoming a mother now gave way to an intense and debilitating sorrow. The emotional toll of the false pregnancy, combined with the strain of her marriage, made it increasingly difficult for McDaniel to maintain her relationship with Crawford. The same year she dismantled the nursery, a symbol of her broken dreams, McDaniel and Crawford's marriage fell apart. The decision to divorce was a painful one, driven by the emotional weight of her loss and the strain it had placed on their relationship. McDaniel's attempt to rebuild her life on her own marked a significant shift in her personal journey as she sought to move past the profound disappointment and seek a new path. The emotional aftermath of her failed marriage was compounded by a distressing confession McDaniel made. She revealed that the root of the marital breakdown was not solely the loss of her anticipated child, but rather a deeper issue. According to McDaniel, it was Crawford's jealousy of her career success that had driven a wedge between them. Despite his role as a modest real estate agent, Crawford struggled with the enormity of McDaniel's fame and achievements. The disparity in their professional worlds created a chasm that was too wide to bridge, ultimately leading to the collapse of their marriage. McDaniel's admission underscored the complexity of balancing personal relationships with professional success. The pressure of living under the intense spotlight of fame while maintaining a marriage can be incredibly challenging. Crawford's apparent envy and inability to cope with McDaniel's high profile contributed to the strain on their relationship, highlighting how external pressures can influence personal lives in significant ways. In the wake of her divorce, McDaniel redirected her energy and focus back into her career with renewed vigor. Determined to overcome the personal setbacks she had endured, she threw herself into her work with characteristic resilience. This period marked a resurgence in her professional life, as she quickly became a prominent figure once again. One of the highlights of this new phase in McDaniel's career was her role in the popular radio show Beulah. In this program, McDaniel starred as the eponymous Beulah, a sassy and endearing housekeeper whose vibrant personality captivated audiences. Her portrayal of Beulah became a significant success, further cementing her place in the entertainment industry. This role was a testament to McDaniel's exceptional talent and ability to resonate with audiences, even as she navigated the personal challenges of her recent past. In the summer of 1949, Hattie McDaniel seemed poised to embrace a fresh start in her personal life. Following the tumultuous aftermath of her previous relationships and the challenges she faced in her pursuit of happiness, McDaniel met Larry Williams, an interior designer. The relationship between McDaniel and Williams quickly evolved into a whirlwind romance. Their bond was intense, and by June of that year, they were married. For McDaniel, this new marriage symbolized hope and the possibility of a stable, fulfilling personal life. She had a successful show, financial stability, and a new partner by her side, elements she hoped would finally bring her the happiness she had long sought. However, the optimism surrounding McDaniel's new marriage was short-lived. The cracks in the relationship began to surface alarmingly fast. Just 5 months into the marriage, McDaniel filed for divorce, a decision that marked the beginning of another painful chapter in her life. The rapid deterioration of her second marriage was a stark contrast to the hopes she had harbored only a few months earlier. The divorce proceedings were marked by bitterness and emotional turmoil. During the court hearings, McDaniel testified that her time with Williams was characterized by constant arguing and fussing. While such statements indicated significant marital discord, they alone might not have been sufficient grounds for divorce. However, the situation took a more dramatic turn when McDaniel broke down in court, revealing the deeper, more troubling aspects of their relationship. In the midst of her emotional testimony, McDaniel disclosed that the marital strife went beyond mere arguments. She tearfully revealed that the relationship was fraught with intense conflict, including physical altercations. Rumors swirled around Hollywood that McDaniel and Williams frequently engaged in violent disputes during their heated arguments. The physical altercations were not only distressing, but also indicative of a deeply unhealthy relationship dynamic. In addition to the physical confrontations, the psychological impact of their tumultuous marriage was significant. The constant fighting and conflict took a heavy toll on McDaniel's emotional well-being, contributing to a deeply strained and ultimately unsustainable relationship. The psychological damage from such a volatile marriage left McDaniel grappling with not only the fallout of another failed relationship, but also the personal scars that came from being embroiled in such a toxic environment. There is a bad truth that Hattie McDaniel faced its most brutal test during her marriage to Larry Williams. McDaniel, known for her hearty appetite and robust demeanor, experienced a dramatic shift in her well-being once the marital issues with Williams began to surface. The stress and turmoil of their relationship had an immediate and severe impact on McDaniel's health. Within just 2 weeks, the strain led to a noticeable weight loss, with McDaniel shedding approximately 12 pounds. This dramatic loss was not merely a physical manifestation of her distress, but also an indicator of the emotional and psychological toll the marriage was taking on her. Williams, despite running a successful interior decorating business, exhibited troubling behavior that exacerbated McDaniel's suffering. Rather than contributing to their financial stability, he preferred to spend McDaniel's money extravagantly. His sense of entitlement was evident when he audaciously requested that she fund a trip to Europe. McDaniel, already feeling the financial strain and likely exasperated by his demands, responded with a biting retort. "Europe? Europe where?" she quipped. "Europe, Pennsylvania? Here's $50 for a Greyhound bus ticket. Take it and go." This sharp response underscored her frustration and her unwillingness to indulge in his unreasonable requests. Despite McDaniel's attempts to set boundaries, Williams's demands did not cease. His audacity extended to trying to manage McDaniel's career, a move that required him to access her financial accounts. Recognizing the danger in allowing her finances to be controlled by her husband, McDaniel firmly rejected the idea. "I'm letting no man handle my bank account," she declared. Her refusal to allow Williams to manage her money highlighted her awareness of his scheming nature and her determination to maintain control over her financial affairs. The situation further deteriorated when Williams actively sought to sabotage McDaniel's career. His attempts to undermine her work, particularly by causing discord among her castmates on the popular radio show Beulah, were deeply damaging. McDaniel's professional life, which had once been a source of immense pride and success, became entangled in the toxicity of her marriage. The stress and manipulation orchestrated by Williams had a detrimental effect on McDaniel's ability to perform. She confessed that the situation was so dire that it caused her sleepless nights and a lack of concentration on her lines, significantly impacting her performance and overall well-being. During the period of her divorce, McDaniel learned she would star in the television adaptation of Beulah. This role seemed like a potential career boost, offering a chance to transition from radio to television, but it was accompanied by significant controversies and challenges. The role of Beulah, however, was laden with complexities. McDaniel was stepping into a role that had originally been portrayed by her friend and neighbor, Ethel Waters. Waters had left the project due to her discomfort with the stereotypical portrayals of black characters that the show perpetuated. This decision underscored a critical tension in the entertainment industry: the perpetuation of demeaning stereotypes versus the opportunities available to black actors. Waters' departure from the show highlighted a growing awareness and resistance to the problematic aspects of the role that McDaniel was about to inherit. Compounding the situation, the Beulah television show faced significant opposition from various quarters. The U.S. Army refused to broadcast the show, citing concerns that it could demoralize black soldiers. This reaction reflected broader anxieties about the impact of racial stereotypes on the morale and dignity of black individuals, further complicating McDaniel's involvement in the project. McDaniel's involvement in Beulah was also a flashpoint in a broader debate about her legacy and the roles she chose to play. Despite her considerable achievements, McDaniel's career was often associated with roles in which she played domestic servants or the help. This typecasting led to criticism from some quarters within the black community, where activists and leaders felt that such roles perpetuated negative stereotypes rather than challenging them. One of McDaniel's most vocal critics was Walter White, a prominent NAACP leader who advocated for more progressive and socially conscious portrayals of black individuals. White favored stars like Lena Horne, who were often lighter-skinned and were seen as embodying a more refined image. This tension between McDaniel and White was emblematic of the broader conflict within the black community regarding representation and the fight for more nuanced and dignified roles. In response to the criticism and the personal attacks, McDaniel demonstrated a remarkable level of resilience and defiance. Known for her ability to navigate the pressures of Hollywood while maintaining a sense of grace, McDaniel chose to confront her critics directly. When White organized a convention featuring prominent black actors, including Lena Horne and her own brother, Sam McDaniel, Hattie made a bold statement by refusing to attend the event. Her absence was a calculated move, signaling her refusal to be marginalized or dictated by her critics. The 1940s had brought their share of personal and professional upheavals. Yet as she entered the new decade, McDaniel was poised to make a significant comeback. Her involvement in the television adaptation of Beulah was a promising step forward, suggesting a resurgence in her career. However, history had taught McDaniel that such moments of optimism were often precursors to deeper challenges, and this time, she was about to face one of the gravest difficulties of her life. After filming only a few episodes of Beulah, McDaniel began to experience troubling symptoms. The familiar confidence and strength she had always displayed were overshadowed by a growing sense of unease. Seeking answers, she visited her doctor, hoping for reassurance. Instead, she was confronted with devastating news. She had cancer, and the prognosis was bleak. The doctors informed her that her condition was advanced and that there was little they could do to prolong her life significantly. This diagnosis was a crushing blow, particularly given McDaniel's recent attempts to revive her career and her enduring hopes for a brighter future. The news of her illness marked the beginning of a swift decline. McDaniel's health deteriorated rapidly, and by 1952, the cancer had taken its toll. She passed away at the age of 59, a premature end to a life that had already seen its fair share of trials and triumphs. The announcement of her death elicited a profound outpouring of grief and affection from across the country. McDaniel was mourned by thousands, including fans, friends, and colleagues who had been touched by her work and her indomitable spirit. McDaniel's funeral was a significant event, reflecting the impact she had made on both her industry and her audience. The ceremony was attended by a diverse array of people who came to pay their respects and honor her memory. The sense of loss was palpable, as many reflected on her pioneering contributions to Hollywood and her remarkable resilience in the face of adversity. According to McDaniel's will, her final resting place was to be marked by a white casket and a white shroud, a choice that was deeply symbolic. White, often associated with purity and peace, contrasted starkly with the struggles she had faced throughout her life. However, there was a final, heartbreaking detail to her burial that spoke volumes about the ongoing challenges she faced, even in death. Despite her immense contributions to entertainment and her status as a groundbreaking black actress, McDaniel was buried in a segregated cemetery. This detail underscored the racial barriers that persisted even in the final moments of her life, reflecting the broader societal challenges she had navigated throughout her career. The segregation of her final resting place was a poignant reminder of the systemic inequalities that continued to affect many aspects of her life, despite her professional achievements and personal resilience. What do you think about Hattie McDaniel's tragic life? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.